Hey guys, welcome back to the C&J show. I have my favorite gin and juice here, and I have my sister Neek here, and today we're going to talk about a little bit of everything but the power of the music industry. How things seem to go when we probably think it's not really going on, but how we see different people going through things and everybody just be like so stunned and don't know what to do at the end of the day. So, Neek, I'm going to go with you. Now, the guy from Empire. Now, that shocked me. The younger brother. Jen, I know you know the name of him, right? The one that they always, yes. The one that they said looked just like Jay-Z. That was his son. That was a rumor. That now he's have been taken, I guess, part in drugs, and then he's abusing his wife, and he's out on the streets. He's doing certain things, and I'm just trying to figure out what led him to that particular point right here where he's at right now, because he don't even look the same at all.
I mean, I think for a lot of people, you know, when something ends, and that's for sports, whether you play football, basketball, whatever career it is, and if once the phone kind of stop ringing, it slows down and things like that. Even if you did some type of little drugs, you know, just recreational or, you know, just occasional here and there, I think you dive deeper into that, being depressed, feeling bad for yourself, and, you know, not getting that help that you need. You know what I mean? Because that's your whole life. You know, the Empire thing is your whole life. So I think once that role was over with, I think that's kind of like, you know, kind of ended. He felt like his life was over with. And that's probably why he got deeper into whatever it is that he's doing.
But don't you kind of feel Jen, like, okay, once they have a certain like role with stardom or whatever the case may be, and Empire was big, like you do have other roles, so it's like, you know, and it's like, okay, that's your time in the spotlight. Shouldn't you have other opportunities? Like, or do you think it was one of these things where we do know now? We hear the rumors about different drugs, but maybe he just took it and it was way too strong for him. Maybe it was a party and he did not know how it would affect him. Do you think that happened, Jen? Like,
no, I don't think, because I think with situations like if it was a drug thing and he's still on the rise and doing that, they would sweep him off to rehab very quickly. But obviously this is something that got out of hand, so I think it was more of an emotional thing for him where he lost control. I do think that maybe it was something where he was typecasted, where, you know, like, you know, you play this big role on one show and people just automatically associate you with that show, and they feel like you can't play any other role outside of the character that you played on that show. A prime example would be, you know, Steve Urkel.
oh yeah,
You know,
huge.
I think that's probably what it was, because he was at the height of everything. Empire was one of the biggest shows, you know, to come on, you know, in that genre. And I feel like shortly after that, it hadn't even been a year since Empire stopped taping, that all of these things are coming out. And I think too, a lot of the times, you know, and I sympathize with him because, you know, these people support their whole family.
yeah.
Sometimes. I don't know specifically for him, but I can assume that,
More than likely.
you know, he was probably helping his whole family out. And that's a lot of pressure to be on one person, especially to be that young and not knowing how to handle those emotions. I feel like naturally people seek drugs and alcohol, and I honestly can understand why, you know, he's doing what he's doing right now if he's not getting any other jobs.
Yeah, because it's out there. And I think too, and one thing I can say personally with what I see, I don't know why people do this, and I think it's just so bad. Even if you see it in your communities, if you notice, you may go somewhere and you see someone, you know, that look less fortunate or whatever the situation is, that people kind of tend to treat them like, okay, you're a monster, or you're something like, okay, because they got on something. All the Whitney Houston fans, I'm just giving an example. You know, not every last one, but once she started to, you know, do whatever, here it is. Now you got people like, oh yeah, see, I don't like her no more because she's on drugs. And you don't get the love back if you fall. Mm-hmm. I hate that. And this is how people can't get back up and try their best to succeed, because it's like one day, I always say I don't want to be famous, because one day you're famous and the next day, yeah, well, we don't think you fit the role, so we're just gonna leave you be. And him being young like that, and then his brother on the show did that whole little scam with Lion, like he got robbed. I don't even know what.
And that was a setup.
And that was a setup.
But he keeps saying that is true.
No, it wasn't.
Yes,
it found out.
Yeah, came out and said that, you know, he got paid for it and all of this different stuff. You know, it was a lie. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe it was something within the show.
Yeah, it had to be
maybe they were looking for jobs and couldn't get any. So they were trying to, well, I'm not going to say maybe he was trying to throw, I don't know.
You know what? When they came back on the show, they did say that they was expecting for the I guess the other seasons to get a certain amount of money, and he wasn't, I guess, getting it. So I'm guessing it was Terrence and maybe Taraji and then other little people, but he did that because he wanted more money. So that was something like, okay, so you really, if you felt like you wanted more money, why the heck would you go and do all of that just to get that type of attention? Was crazy.
He wanted sympathy. He's a black man. He's a gay black man.
And he does porno.
He threw all of those cards out there, and he wanted a bouquet back, a sympathy bouquet back.
Yeah.
You know? And it didn't work, and I'm happy it didn't work. I'm happy that fell flat on his face. Yeah. Because you don't lie like that, because there are young men out there that are actually living this, that are actually dying.
Yeah.
From, you know, attacks from
like that.
People that are homophobic, and here you are playing about it.
Yeah.
That's true.
He should have been arrested.
Was he?
I think he was.
I think maybe they have banned him out of Hollywood. And, you know, and it's just so crazy because one, you are a handsome young man,
but see, it's a quick fix. That's the thing. People want something quick, right? So first of all, if you've already been making this money, you've already been living this life. You know, Empire had a great run for a long time. I do think the last season or two, people started kind of like falling off from it, and people were more into, you know, Power. People was more into like series type things and not so much like TV shows. I think that
because now Power is not Power, right?
No. Even Power started falling off from like the original.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can only go on so long before it's like, what else can we do?
They're trying to do something else now, but that's the thing. It's only so long before people are like, okay, when are you going to end it? Like, this is done. Like, okay, you just said every possible thing that can possibly happen with this thing. Like, it has to be done.
They've already been in a million different compromising positions, and they're still alive. When is it going to be?
When is somebody going to die? And
exactly.
I think they started reading those comments. Okay, so we got to kill a big person off because, you know, everybody's involved in something so dangerous, but nobody never dies. You know what I'm saying? They're so untouchable. So it starts to get kind of boring. Like, okay, what's going on here?
And I think that's the same thing with Power. I feel like, you know, these shows aren't scripted like 5 and 6 seasons ahead. They go season by season because they don't know
how well it's going to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's just they're playing it by ear, and it just drags on longer than it should.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened with them. And it's probably, you know, they probably got dropped. Like, you know, a lot of times people say from, like, even the girl from Power, the young girl, what was the sister name?
Raina.
Oh, I cried. Ooh.
So, Raina, yeah. So, basically, she said from the interview she was on The Breakfast Club shortly after she got killed off. They was like, so how was that? You know, she was like, well, I didn't even know until I was reading that I was going to get killed off. She was like, I didn't know I was being, you know how she said it. She's like, I didn't know I was being fired. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She was like, it's just kind of like, I was like, oh, wow. Like,
and I think that happened also with the game. The game, that was the same way. With, I don't know if it was Tamar or whoever. Her and then the guy that she was with, her boyfriend.
Oh, Darwin.
Yeah, Darwin. It does the same thing with them. The two that really made the show got to get kicked off because and she didn't even know.
I mean,
why Tamara got kicked off?
They was They just, you know why? I think they said finance wise, their budget wasn't really, was going to be able to cut it because they were the stars. So, that's why they brought Brandy and others just to try to keep it just going. But everybody was really sort of watching it for them, but they didn't have the thing. I was watching it for them.
But y'all remember they tried to.
But Brandy did good though. She did play her part. Yes, I love that.
Now remember when they brought it back, but it was never as big, and it wasn't the same because I felt like everybody loved them because they was like that couple that's trying to get it, trying to make it. They going through little stuff, but they still trying to hang on.
And then she had her little horror moments.
Yeah, and so did he.
But I'm saying it fit. Everything fit.
Yeah,
it was good.
Like, yeah, he started talking to this girl. I don't know, like not expecting nothing from it. And she texted the phone like, oh snap. She texted me and I'm home. Like, you can't do that while I'm home. So you sneaking texting the girl back.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Did he get her pregnant? Yep, they ended up having a baby.
Yeah,
I said, oh my God. I know everybody could identify with that, not me. But I'm just saying, yes.
But not to go off topic. But not to go off topic. But he also, recently got into something where his son, he was driving drunk or had his son, little 3-year-old son. I don't even know how true that is. But had his son in the car, front seat at the wheel or something like that. I don't know. But he recently got arrested for a DUI. And
he did the really?
Yeah, recently. But I mean, anybody. It could happen to anybody.
Yeah,
you can have too much to drink and think you okay to drive. So that could happen to anybody. But yeah, I think that happens. I mean, even with him, I thought he was a good actor. I thought he could have had more roles even after that.
Yeah.
So
and Michael, the guy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he was a good actor too, as well. I mean,
and too the thing too, because one thing I don't want us to do, guys, because I know and by the way, guys, we're like, we want to really, really, really thank everybody because we're now like I think 8,000 subscribers now. So we're on the road to that 10K, and just hopefully we just continue to keep growing, because something that we really do want to do with this channel is we just want to start the awareness of everything. We have opinions. We do not never really have our facts. But we do try, since we do have people from the ages of 13 to 60, where whatever we say, we do want to give a positive feedback. And we just want to say thanks to our followers and stuff. But with this, what we were just saying. So I think you already know when you're doing stuff, when you're supposed to be big and people depended on you, the way that the industry or the world, even for high school kids, I didn't went to school with the people that was popular. I guess they was going to make it playing football, and they didn't make it. And I think it devastated them to the point that they just they have not done anything since then,
they just stopped completely, like no plan B or anything. And I'm not saying it's too late, because these guys are very, still young and things like that, but it's just kind of like.
But how can we blame them? How can we blame them? The focus wasn't academic focuses in college, so they can't come out here and, really excel at anything, job wise.
Yeah.
And, you don't teach these people finances.
No.
At the same time.
And too, Jen, you just said that, which is good. But you know what? Another thing that I feel, if the schools could do this, people in positions, stop giving, like, the football players, they didn't have to go to a class and they still was passing. I've seen a lot of them do that. So they felt like popular stars, but then when you get to college and now it's like, wait, you got some competition and you're the little fish. It's the same thing with the industry. It's like, okay, and it is driving people to doing so much of things, killing themselves.
I think it's up to the parents. I feel like it's up to the parents to be on their kids, to let them, to enforce in them that education is still number one.
Yeah.
Because these people are going to do whatever they need to do to get you where they want you to be. Yeah. Until that's not enough. Yeah. So I feel like it's up to the parents to stay on their kids. And even if they don't have a parental figure, I think it should be, it should be known to these kids that football is not going to be enough where I'm going. I have to have both.
Yeah,
right. Because before and after, because one thing about football, you got a few years. That 30, 31, they already saying that you old.
Yeah, and 2 with this, because we're going to continue it, because it's a part 2 to it in what we're saying, because this is big, guys. And we're going to give this to Gin and Juice and for the closing, and we will be back with part 2 with the power and fame of
Chloe and Halle.
Yes, and the Hollywood itself, just everybody in general, you know? Okay.
All right, guys. See y'all in the next video.
All right.